All right, welcome into the NBA tip-off show on this Wednesday now, December 20th. Loaded card once again here tonight in the association. We're going to have a featured matchup, a pretty good one here tonight too. Can anybody stop this LA Clippers team? We'll talk about that. Gotta love the Celtics not being able to hold serve on the road. We'll talk about their matchup here tonight. The contrarian gods are screaming here for a play tonight. We'll see what three of the best NBA handicappers at WagerTalk have to say about all of those games as we welcome back in Skee Profit in the house. Rob Vino is here and Tony Finn Jr. Brian Power back in the house here. It's always a pleasure to see you, gentlemen, at least two of you anyway. So let us talk here, gentlemen. Skee, the contrarian gods, it's an interesting spot for them here. But, I had told you the other night when you made Miami your best bet, I said, oh, boy, if it don't win, I don't want you going anywhere near the Heat anytime soon. And yet here the contrarian gods are asking you to back them against Orlando. I believe no Jimmy Butler. But, Skee, this line has not moved since 8 o'clock this morning. We knew he wasn't playing, and it ain't going anywhere. Somebody's got to be betting Miami here. Are you getting behind him in this spot?
Am I personally getting behind them? I am not. But I'll try to make a case for Miami. I look at this Orlando team, and I just can't help but ask myself, like, how is this a team that is overachieved? They're 16-9 right now. Their team now is pretty much a bottom feeder last year. So will this continue throughout the rest of the season or not? They are on the front end of a back-to-back. So far this year, they're 6-1 as a home favorite. But what I've been seeing lately is a team that has not been covering. To be specific, I'm looking at their last 7 games, and they've only covered 2 of them. So it's not an Orlando team that's playing extremely well lately. The defense has still been there, but Miami has gotten a little bit healthier, minus Jimmy Butler, and that's a big minus. But, Hero and Bam back, that's big additions. Their offense has been better. I think that will continue. They've been a better rebounding team. And if they can do those 2 things, I think they'll do enough to hang around in this game, if not win. So I lean towards Miami. It's not in my pocket right now, but I can understand why it's the contrarian play of the day.
All right. Well, they certainly have been profitable to those that have backed them early on in the season, definitely in the first half, too. They have been absolutely pure cash in the first half so far. But wasn't a great West Coast trip for them there, BP. And Miami blew another double-digit lead at home, and now it's not that far a ride, about 2.5 hours up I-95. They're in Orlando. This line is a little stagnant for me, man. I thought if with the amount of people betting the tickets on Orlando, this thing would have moved, but it's not. So what are you thinking here? Taking the 5, or would you lay the 5 here?
Well, Joe, despite that always warm greeting that you provided me here on my, yesterday was actually my debut, but, on just the second NBA show, I will side with the contrarian gods on this one. Although it should be noted, Miami is just 3-6 against the number as a dog. Skee hit on some of the Magic's trends, 7-1 again as a favorite. They're also 10-2 ATS at home, where they've won 9 in a row straight up, but both teams have matching records over the last 7 games at the window, 2-5. Orlando humbled a bit with the back-to-back losses to Boston. They shoot just 38%. The second go-around, only 2 guys in double figures. Miami, meanwhile, you touched on the game earlier this week against Minnesota. I almost got there on them. I'm glad I laid off because they led most of the way, up by as many as 17 against a very good T-Wolves team, and then they fell apart in the fourth quarter. But the good news, even though Butler's out, as was mentioned, Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, both back, and they combined for 47 points against the T-Wolves, a great defensive team, as we know. They were actually the top 2 scorers on the team. Hero, 10 of 18 from the field, so no rust there. And if these guys are going to play like that, then this is clearly a much better Heat team than what we've seen. And that's pretty scary for the East, Joe, because there's only 4 teams in the conference with a demonstrably better net efficiency rating right now than the Heat. They had 5 guys in double figures the other night. Orlando is one of the 4 teams with a better net efficiency than Miami, but they've also lost 8 of 10 to the Heat overall head-to-head. I say side with the contrarian gods, and let's take the points.
God, you're here, Rob. You know, I had this like screeching sound in my ear. I didn't know what the hell it was. So I'm glad that we finally corrected that. And we have you now to talk to about this Miami Heat team. Now, you and I have been in agreement. We've all been in agreement. They're a hell of an over team. This has been quite the defensive effort from Orlando here. I hate this number of 5. You know, it's 2 buckets here, and is now the time to look to back Miami even without Jimmy Butler?
Well, how many of us have backed Miami so far? 1, 2.
1, 2. Oh, yes. You
If
know
I
the
make
routine.
it 3, then
We have to bet
we
Orlando.
know what to
Yes.
do if I make it 3. Right? We just run to the window with the other side.
But Skee was about his Swiss flag. As a matter of fact,
All right.
Ryan, you got to bust that out. You know, I mean, that was just some hard crap. Not for nothing, Skee. That was the most non-committal crap that we have seen there. Am I personally, Ben? No, but yeah, that was some Swiss miss right there. Go ahead, Ryan. I know you're going to have a side that we can latch onto. So go ahead, Vino.
Yeah, I see that flag, and I feel like we should all line up and donate blood to Skee with that flag next to his face there. You know, I wish, Joe, and you said it early when you were leading in here, I wish that we could have spoke about total on this game rather than contrarian, because I think there's something to be said for the total. But let me just go over the matchups here. The way it sits with Jimmy out, that huge front line for Orlando obviously will give Miami problems. They're so small. Jaquez, Caleb Martin, and Bam up front against Wagner, Banchero, and Carter Jr. That's advantage Orlando. But Miami, with their quickness, and Jaime Jaquez Jr. has really brought a spark to this team on both ends of the floor. That 219 number that it's up to now, the Heat have gone over that number 8 times in their last 10, and one was a push. So they're 8-1-1 last 10 over 219 for those looking to play total here. As for side, I think that, to tell you the truth, I think Miami can probably match point for point with Orlando here. Like I said, I think Orlando's got an interior edge. I think Miami's got a quickness edge and a, let's say, small edge, right wings and guards. So they probably offset each other here. Brian mentioned some numbers where Miami in the head-to-head series has been dominant. However, the one thing that probably stops me here is Orlando's been so good at home. 11-1 straight up, 10-2 against the spread at home. That's tough to bet against. They see a little bit of a wounded Miami team here, but there's games, guys, where Jimmy's as good as a cheerleader as he is being on the floor. He can still will the team across the finish line from the bench. So I'm going to say reluctantly, so we can have 2 Swiss flags. Miami +5 is the way I would look here.
Woo! All right, there it is. Swiss it up here. I can't believe Brian Power is the only one adamant about the Miami Heat getting 5 here tonight with the contrarian gods. All right, just a quick reminder here, guys, before we get to this featured event tonight. Want to welcome those of you in joining us for the very first time here on WagerTalk TV. Hit that subscribe button, as nobody's got more content when it comes to daily head-to-head matchups or huge games coming up, NFL, college football, you name it, college basketball about to get real crazy. We have got you covered on a daily basis here, so hit that subscribe button, become part of the family, and do not forget, those of you joining us live here during the broadcast, you guys, hit that like button. You know the routine. Those of you joining us in the chat room, a very happy Wednesday to you here today. Now we got to talk about Skee's favorite team, the LA Clippers, as they get ready to take on the Dallas Mavericks. And Skee, are we getting in front of the Clippers train here? Because I think the Pacers tried to, but that didn't work out all that well. So what are we doing here with Dallas tonight?
Yeah, it didn't work out that well. I'm just, for one, Clippers do have OKC tomorrow, and I think that maybe might have something to do with Paul George popping up on the injury report. But Clippers have won, what, 8 games in a row, and this spread is really, really short. So it makes me think that the odds makers believe Dallas can be competitive in this one. And what I know about Dallas versus the Clippers is Luca. I always talk about it. He hates this team. He absolutely despises them, and he usually kills them. If you look at his last 9 games, he averages 38.3 points per game, and it all started with a guy. It all started with a guy who's not there anymore. But he called Luca some names, and I just know he remembers that. So as good as Luca's been playing lately, like he's had 30 plus his last 11 games. I think with the Clippers being on the front end of a back-to-back, he can will this team to victory. That's just kind of my thought process. Luca's point prop, I had been taking it consistently every time they saw the Clippers, but it's gone from like it was 28.5 to now we're looking at 36.5. And he still averages more than that about his last 9 games, but I just think at some point, it's not the way I want to look anymore. So can he still hit it? Yes. I probably prefer Luca's points in the first quarter than the full game, just because I know he'll be out there the entirety of the first quarter. And I think Dallas can be competitive. So Dallas or Luca, either way, I think is the way to go in this game.
All right, looking at it both ways. I think I saw his his PRA at like 58, 57 and a half. Like, damn, that is a large load there that Doncic is going to have to carry, but he should be used to it really at this particular point. How about you, BP? Are you leaning to getting in front of this Clippers train? Is Doncic exactly what it's going to take to get it done?
No, Joe, slightly into the Clippers here. By really any metric other than one-loss record, this is the third best team in the West behind Minnesota and OKC. And that one-loss record, as we all know, is rapidly improving thanks to those 8 straight wins. 3 of the last 4 have been by more than 20 points. And you go back to Monday against Indiana. You talked about how Indiana was unable to get in front of that train. Well, the Pacers, through 3 quarters of that game, I'm not making this up, we're giving up 1.44 points per possession. That's like how often you bury me and sneak in pot shots on the show, Joe. I mean, that's the only other thing I could see with more frequency. So the Clippers have scored 300 total points the last 2 games without any overtime. And Dallas, their last 2 games, they've allowed 250. No Kyrie Irving for the Mavs, that bigger deal on the offensive end. I just don't want to get in front of the Clippers train, Joe, especially because Dallas, as an underdog this year, 1-5 straight up and against the number. I think the Clippers continue to climb the Western Conference standings. I would lay it here in our featured game of the day.
All right, laying it. Love it. What are you thinking here, Rob? Vino, so far kind of split here. So you will break that tie by laying it out for us here. Total, side, half. What are you going to do in this matchup here?
I think it's difficult for Dallas. And I probably could have gotten to Dallas. It's amazing what effect a rookie can have on a team. But Derek Lively Jr. has had a huge effect on the Mavericks as far as the interior goes. Luka has found a partner, pick and roll, alley-oops, those types of things. Lively's been good on the boards. Lively's been good at rim protection. They miss him tonight. And that's big because Dallas just has nobody. We know what they are, or what they were coming into that draft before they got him. They just cannot defend at the rim. And it probably leaves some openings for the Clippers as far as getting to the rim is concerned. They've got some guys who can do so. However, if Paul George doesn't go, you can take a lot of that Clipper efficiency stuff and change it around a little bit. So that's an interesting name to pop up on the injury list, as Skee mentioned earlier. I think, of course, Luka. I mean, I look down that roster, and I do wonder who's going to guard him tonight. I mean, this thing whole started, like Skee said, it started with Pat Beverly, and when he ate him up in the playoffs, and then it increased to Montrezl Harrell, who had a few things to say to him, and ever since then, he's been off to the races. I think that Dallas at home is going to be a little bit better, but honestly, I don't think their interior is good enough here. So I'm going to lean Clippers in this game. Probably hope that George goes. It's obviously the reason why the line has moved slightly down toward Dallas is because of the George news. But if he goes here, I think they'll be okay. So give me Clippers minus the points.
Ooh, all right. Another vote for the Clippers here tonight. A big battle of Western powerhouses here tonight. Currently seeing 2 now, I guess. Clippers laying 2 on the road The total had come down 239, seeing 236.5 right now. And speaking of totals, let's focus on one here in our overtime section. And we'll head out west again for this one as the Boston Celtics taking on the Sacramento Kings here. Now, it's interesting. I saw this at some spots opening up around 233. It's obviously been bet up to 236.5, 237, now 237.5. So we're not anticipating any defense, but it's an intriguing spot for the Celtics here. Skee coming off an overtime loss to Golden State. What do you think here? Is it still an over or pass spot for you?
Yeah, this one is tough for me because I have a system I usually try to follow, and it says when two pretty much like two elite teams meet up like this with a high total, it kind of plays more towards the under. But I don't know how much I trust Sacramento to play defense. So that kind of holds me up. And then, yes, Tatum is out, Horford is out, but I mean, Porzingis is game time. If you're missing Porzingis, Horford, and Cornette, how much paint protection do the Celtics have? And then the guys that are coming in from the guard position for the Celtics, I don't see them playing too much defense, and they just want to jack up threes. So I can't get under. It's just hard for me to go there for this game. You look at the Kings, they've gone over, I think, 8 of their last 9 at home. It's the only way I could look. I think this game will be played more at their pace, which the last 5 games is number 7 in the league. So I still, even without Tatum, can only look towards the over.
Yeah, Sawyer Brown, like you said, Porzingis in there. De'Aaron Fox is a go. Monk looks like he's a go. So there's still enough firepower on the court for this to get up and over. But, I mean, haven't they been talking about the Kings, like, playing some defense at home, preserving home court? Like, they want to make a statement. Well, this is a good opportunity to do it, but you're not going to outshoot the Celtics, are you, Brian?
Yeah, they talk about a lot of things, Joe, in this world. They don't always come true. But look, we all know and can agree, even you and I, it is a brutal spot here for Boston after last night. They up 17, lose in overtime. All 5 starters logging 36 or more minutes. Tatum hurts his ankle, as Skee mentioned. Horford, he's load management. He's out. Porzingis could return. But in terms of getting up and over 237.5, what I would do, I think, is just wait, see where the market peaks. And I would hold my nose and take the under here, believe it or not. Derek White, he had 30 last night, including 7 made threes. Can we count on that again? No. The Celtics had 121 in regulation, and you got to figure you're not getting that game out of White. And then Sacramento, you look at them, they've got some shooting regression in their profile as well. They scored 143 last game. Well, who did they score 143 on, Joe? It was the Wizards, who play absolutely no defense whatsoever. The Kings shot 53%. They made 17 threes. Can we count on that happening for a second straight game? I don't know. Again, I would, just pay attention to the WagerTalk odds screen, see where the market peaks, and try to come in, hold your nose, take an under, as unpleasant as that may seem.
Ooh, I know it. There's no way Vino is taking an under in this game, but let's hear it, Rob. It is a terrible spot for the Celtics, no doubt, but they've also, I believe, under Brazil, have been pretty good in this spot over the last couple of seasons. So what do we do here? Or is it just look at the over and then forget about it?
You just simplify it, Joe, and you play Sacramento over 119.5. That's clearly the way to go here, because the Celtics have Skee mentioned the lack of rim protection. It's not there. Skee mentioned, and Brian, both the Kings offensively and their lack of defense as well. I'll add this to it. Drew Holiday last night, low man on the totem pole, only 35 minutes played. Derek White, 40. Jaylen Brown, 41. If you're the Kings and you play high-octane transition to begin with, that jump ball starts the game, and you start running from the outset. Go, 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 and run Boston into the ground. Where the reserves are concerned, Boston comes off the bench with shooting guards, right? Sam Hauser can shoot. Peyton Pritchard can shoot. None of them can defend, but they can still shoot. And so to me, it seems like it becomes an up-and-down game. For the Kings to get to 120 against a team that can't stop De'Aaron Fox from getting to the rim, or anybody else for that matter, or can't stop Sabonis from getting rebounds or anything like that, I just don't see why you have to complicate it full game here. I would play Kings over 119.5. That number, by the way, guys, was 115 earlier and pushed up 4.5 points. It's probably not enough. I could see Sacramento catching Boston on this second of back-to-backs with certainly the personnel advantage here, scoring, a typical 125 from them. I think that what they average somewhere in that vicinity at home, 124 at home. So I would think 119.5 over with the Kings is a safe play.
All right. Like the approach there. A couple of different ways to go at that game here tonight from a total perspective. And it is pretty big card here tonight. So that means there's got to be a dog or two on this card that might interest these guys. So, Robert, let's check out what do the dogs look like tonight.
That's my dog. That's my dog. That's my dog. That's my dog. And anybody got to say anything, you let me know. That's my dog.
All right, are they barking here tonight? We got the T-Wolves, the Hornets, Nets, Miami Heat, the Jazz, Raptors, Bulls, the Hawks, the Mavs, and the Celtics, all in a dog roll here tonight, with the Hornets being the biggest dog of them all. Skee, which one of these might appeal to you here tonight? Might be barking here a little bit.
Looking up and down the list, I think I'm gonna have to go with, and I didn't bet it yet, but I could get to the window with this one. I think I have to go with the Raptors plus the points. And when I talk about this game, I'll say this: the Nuggets have gotten a lot healthier, and they've looked a lot better, and they're still healthy right now. But I just can't help but think, a lot of the games they've been playing lately have been at home, and we know this Nuggets team. I don't think they have a winning record so far this season on the road, and in past seasons they haven't been a great road team either. So between that and this Toronto team has just been at home for about a week now. Toronto, I feel like, matches up pretty well with this Denver team. They have the length to be able to guard and defend these guys. And it just boils down to me not trusting Denver on the road, really. So I'll lean towards Toronto right now. And when I think about it, I'm trying to get it out, but Denver last game, they just shot lights out. Like, I think they shot 53%, 50-something% from three, and Toronto shot like 20-something% from three. So I know Rob handicaps like this too, but I expect progression from Toronto and regression from Denver, and I'll lean towards Toronto plus the points.
Yeah, home road splits have been interesting, to say the least, here with Denver. So, all right, Toronto could be barking here tonight. BP, how about it, man? A little something for everyone here in the dog market tonight. Which one's barking for you?
Yeah, how about the Bulls? Last 9 games, they're 6-3 straight up, 8-1 against the number. They have a top 10 net rating during that time. They just beat the 76ers, a team with the best point differential in the league, and had previously won 6 in a row. And, we talk about progression, regression of the mean, what's going on. How do the Bulls do off an upset win like what they did? Well, the answer is actually pretty well, Joe. There's no letdown. They're 24-11 against the number since the start of the 2021 season, immediately following an outright win as a dog. Then you look at the Lakers, a team going on the road. They're 0-4 against the number of the last 4 games, all as favorites. 3 of those non-covers, outright losses. That, of course, comes on the heels of winning the NBA's first ever in-season tournament. Joe, I know you've already ordered your LA Lakers in-season tournament championship t-shirt, but the Lakers are just 5-9 ATS on the road, and you got James and Davis, showing up as questionable. We don't know. I don't know why you wouldn't take the points here. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bulls just beat them outright. Bulls are my dog.
What was that? Skee is... Oh, okay. All right. Skee is just flipping you off mad right now, but that's all right. No problem. How dare you fade his Lakers? Dare you? Disgusted with him, Rob Vino. All right, the Bulls there. So we got Toronto. We got the Bulls. I need a dog, Vino. Which one you looking at here tonight?
Yeah, Skee's probably fighting Robert for the buzzer right now to try and buzz Brian in that play. But it won't matter because Brian looks so comfortable in that Hallmark special Christmas sweater that he looks nice and cozy over there. I'm going to go, some of the outtakes the stuff that goes on before this show takes place is the best stuff. And someday maybe we could release some of it. But we started here just discussing between us about Tony Finn. Skee and Joe, do you remember when Tony Finn every night just loved the Utah Jazz? I'm going to make this a Tony Finn salute play and take Utah. He used to be in love with Utah every night. We used to break his stones a little bit, but I'm going to try Utah +5 here for a couple of reasons. First off, there are minuses in this starting lineup. And if Donovan Mitchell becomes the newest one, they really are lacking, especially at the point guard position. Now, Mitchell's listed with illness, and that's been going around quite a bit. And as somebody who had like a 24-hour bug, you just don't feel like playing 40 minutes of basketball when you're not feeling that well. So I know they get the IV and everything, but I don't know that Mitchell's going to go here. If he doesn't go, again, they don't have a true point guard. Darius Garland's already out. You move Karis LeVert into the starting lineup and pair him with Max Strus, and you got 2 shooting guards. I don't know who's going to run the offense. So that's good for Utah if, in fact, Mitchell doesn't play. Even if he does play, I don't coach the Jazz, but I can play the Jazz coach on the show here. You just hound Donovan Mitchell for 40 minutes. And if he's got to do all the heavy lifting, ball handling and shooting, it could be a little much on him in the condition that he's in health-wise. So I think that there's an advantage there for Utah. It's the first game of a road trip for Utah. Again, I like these teams when they come in the first game. The excitement level is always there. I think Utah looks at this road trip, which is really workable. When you look at the 4 teams they're going to play, if they get this one, they can probably go 3-1 on this trip. They're playing pretty good ball right now. They're 3-1 last 4. That all correlates to the return of Lauri Markkanen. Since he's come back, they've played better. They've won games at home. I get it, but I think you take that confidence on the road with you here. For Cleveland, they just don't play enough defense at this point in time for me. I know Jared Allen's in, but Evan Mobley's not. Walker Kessler is a pretty good matchup for Jared Allen as far as getting up and down the floor and, grabbing rebounds and blocking shots. So I'm going to try the Jazz here, Joe, +5. If Mitchell does get listed as out, I don't think we're going to see 5 anymore, right? We probably see 3.5 or 3. So give me the Jazz +5.
All right, taking the Jazz as their dog. So we've got a little something for everybody here tonight. Certainly could very well be a whole lot of barking dogs tonight, but we do have a couple of best bets here from each of these guys we are going to get to. And just a quick reminder, if you haven't done so already, hit that like button for us. And don't forget, become part of the WagerTalk TV family by hitting the subscribe button if you haven't done so. Great content. Just a couple of clicks away about all the big matchups coming up this week, whether it be NFL, college football, bowl games, NBA, college hoops, a little something for everyone here at WagerTalk TV during this crazy holiday week. We started off with Skee. We put 60 seconds on the clock. Skee, come on, man. Do what you want with this 60. Just drop us a best bet somewhere in here. What are you looking at tonight?
Yeah, I'll look at the Sixers and Timberwolves game, and I will go with the Sixers. Best number you can get. I mean, it's moving right now. I see the odd screen lighting up, but you can still get 3.5 or still even some 3s out there, but you should probably get to it now. This Timberwolves team has had to travel every single game so far in December. They're on the front end of a back-to-back. They play the Lakers tomorrow, and this Timberwolves team is only 1-3 as a road dog. Going up against the Sixers, who are off of a loss, and at home where they perform well, 9-3 is a home favorite. They've covered every game except for their last one out of their last 6. And the last time these teams met, Minnesota did take advantage of the Sixers, but Timberwolves are just a different team at home. And in that game, Sixers were missing Embiid too. On the road, Timberwolves defense really struggles. They give up about 11, 12 more points per game than at home. I think they will struggle tonight, especially defending Embiid. I feel like every time I see Gobert versus Embiid, Gobert gets in foul trouble. So I think Sixers is the way to go in this matchup, minus the 3.5.
All right. Love it. I don't think the first time they played, I don't think Embiid was in that game. So surprise, Minnesota. Embiid playing here tonight should be a good one here, holding serve on their own home court. BP, what's going on here, man? A lot of different ways to approach this NBA card here tonight. 60 seconds. Tell us. What's the best bet?
Yeah, I'll endear myself to some here on the show, perhaps behind the scenes, and I'm going to go with the Houston Rockets because I keep trying to find holes in this Rockets resume, but other than their play on the road, I'm not really seeing it, Joe. I did not expect 5 days before Christmas the Rockets to have the 5th best point differential in the conference, but that's the case. And they're not on the road tonight. They're at home, and they're facing an Atlanta team that has covered just 2 of its last 16 games. The Hawks, they like to play fast, but that leads to really, really atrocious defense. 27th points per possession allowed, 28th in total points allowed. I know Houston just got done with a 3-game road swing. They were here in Cleveland the other night. They lost in overtime, but you look at Atlanta's last 3 wins, which, oh, by the way, you have to go back to November 30th to find, guys. 2 were against Detroit and San Antonio. The other was against Toronto, where I had them. Not here. Rockets continue to surprise. That's the best bet for the show today.
Ooh, I couldn't hear from that sucking sound there, but I wasn't sure what that was. But apparently it was him kissing Robert's ass, Vino, going to back with Houston here tonight. I knew it was coming. Somebody had to back the Rockets at home here. BP does. All right, Vino, you got the last word here, man. 60 seconds on the clock. Drop us a best bet here tonight.
All right. So again, in tribute to Tony Finn, I went to clean the glass in their numbers here to come up with the Denver Nuggets -3.5 tonight. Clean the glass, guys, for what it's worth. They have what they call a core 4 statistical handicap, where they take what they consider to be the 4 most important categories, offensive and defensive. And you know where Toronto ranks in 8 of those categories? They rank bottom echelon in 6 of them, especially on the defensive end. Denver ranks in the upper echelon in 7 of those. Toronto's defense has been miserable. They 50% or better in 4 of their last 5. Nobody shot 50%. Only one team has shot 50% against Denver this month. So Denver defensively, I think, is way better here. I don't like what I see out of Toronto's results lately. 2-4 against the spread. Meanwhile, Denver 4-1. Again, it's the first game of a road trip. I think Denver will come to play. 3.5 to me just looks too light in a mismatch of class. Give me Denver -3.5.
Ooh, all right, Denver, lay it. Better team, don't overthink it, says Rob Vino. And here you go, guys, one more time. BP sucking up to our producer, going with the Rockets -3 here tonight, while Skee's like, you know what? Sixers at home against the T-Wolves. Yeah, he'll lay it. 3.5 there. Embiid in that lineup for him tonight. And the Nuggets, Vino says, way too much shot quality data there not to back up the Denver Nuggets. It's exactly what he's going to be doing here. Do not forget, though, guys, quite the opportunity to be able to head over to WagerTalk.com and partner up with any one of these guys, whether it be Skee, Brian Power, Rob Vino. Their best bets are locked, loaded, ready to go, not just for tonight, but there's a whole lot coming up this week here. You're just a couple of clicks away. Head over to WagerTalk.com and partner up with these guys here as we look forward to an extremely profitable evening in the hardwood, whether it be college or NBA. And if you're interested in more of the head-to-head matchups coming up here tonight with game breakdowns and best bets, just go ahead and click on that video on your screen right now and then make plans to come back and join us again tomorrow for another edition of the NBA Tip-Off Show. Until then, best of luck with all your plays. We'll see you soon.